Hey, what is going on, guys? Christian from the Lamprey MMA podcast is always joined by Trent and Jeffrey. What's up, boys?
What's up?
What's up, boys? All right, so this is episode 9 of the pod.
Woo.
Yeah, we're almost at double digits, almost there. Had to switch it up a little bit. Had to take the glasses off because every time I watch back our episodes, it bugs the fuck out of me that you could see this through my computer screen through my glasses. So I'm like, I gotta switch it up. Gotta take the glasses off.
Can you get
You're lucky,
contacts?
you're lucky it's not like fine. You can't see that's how people get busted for everything.
know.
Right? Like
I know,
fucking porn and
seriously.
shit. On the tabs.
He's got the hub up.
Asian ass porn. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, great start to the pod.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys are watching us on YouTube, thank you so much. Since this last episode, we've gained some new subscribers, which is cool. The episode did pretty well in terms of, like, for us, the numbers were pretty good. It's probably our second or third most watched episode thus far. And it's still going up. If you're listening to us on Anchor, Google Podcast, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, thank you so much. Make sure to go and check us out on the YouTube channel as well. Subscribe, like, hit that bell so you can be notified whenever we post new videos. Today's video, we're mostly just going to be talking about UFC 264, do a quick recap in terms of, we'll do our H-bomb evaluation for the card, and we'll just break down each fight that we made predictions or did preview on. I will say this, Jeffrey, you and I did pretty goddamn shitty in terms of our fight picks. I was 4-7.
Yeah.
Jeffrey
3-8.
it was 3-8. Trenton was 7-4.
I think so. Yeah.
And yeah, so obviously I'm at 500 on my picks now. I'm 16-16. Jeffrey, you're 15-17, and then Trenton, you're still like you're under 500. You're 15-17.
I'm catching back.
You're
up,
catching
baby.
up, though. You're catching up. Yeah. So Jeffrey and Trenton are tied now in terms of overall picks. So good on you, boys. Yeah. So let's just start with the first fight. It was Brad Tavares ended up getting the W in that fight against the Dagestani. So against Amari Akhmedov. I mean, I don't have any problems with that. The only difference really in the fight was Brad Tavares landed more significant strikes overall, like by almost 30. But Amari Akhmedov had 2 takedowns. He was 2 for 9 on takedowns. So other than that, it wasn't a super exciting fight by any means. It was pretty standard, but it was nice to see Brad Tavares get back into the win column. And I was just surprised that a Dagestani guy got worked that badly by a guy who I really don't think he's on an incline. I think he's just kind of at a plateau right now. So
Yeah, it was a fun fight, but I think it was mostly fun because of Brad. You know, like he struggled with the Dagestani dude. He struggled with takedowns, and that was the overall story. He couldn't get him down for very, very much or whatever. He tried multiple times and only got what you said it was a success
2 for 9.
Yeah. So, that's not a good
Which was
look.
probably early on in the fight too. And
Yeah.
if you think about it, I didn't get to watch the early prelims just because I was at work until 4:00 when the prelims started. So
I watched them, but I don't really remember. It's hard to remember when it wasn't like fireworks the whole time. You know what I mean? I do remember the guy just looked slower than Brad.
Mm-hmm.
But then I remember Joe Rogan being like, I don't think he's slower. I just think he winds up and, that's a coaching error and stuff like that. But yeah, he didn't look amazing. But yeah. Brad looked good. So congrats to Brad.
Yeah. Like you said, congrats to Brad. The fight wasn't super exciting, I Amari to do like a little bit like more groundwork, you know what I mean? Like be able to take him down at least,
and control.
and control. That I mean, that's what they're known for. And I don't, for whatever reason, I don't think he was fully committed, to that life. So I mean,
ain't about that life.
Not about it. But Brad did what he had to do, and landed some significant strikes, and that's what you got to do. So, good fight.
I think that's where Brad's like just being a vet. I think where times like fights like that, where you need a win and you know what it takes to get a win, that's where it really pays dues. Where he's been in the UFC for 6 or 7 years now,
and he's fought some badass individuals.
I mean, he fought Izzy when Izzy was on his come up. So that's like the biggest name that I can think of that he fought.
And like you said, just being a grown up in the octagon, and knowing your audience and knowing that, hey man, this guy's really not landing punches. He's not taking me down. As long as I, stand up and bang, like he's not really a threat. So I'm going to get this win,
Let me bang, bro. Let me bang. All right. Next fight was Jennifer Maia versus Jessica Ai. I think we all got that pick right. I'm pretty sure we all picked Jennifer. I think in the early prelims, we all picked Amari, and then we all picked Jennifer Maia to win.
Yeah.
Jennifer Maia looked really good.
Yeah, she did.
That cut that she opened up, she gave Jessica Ai a third eye.
Well, that was a head clash, but
yeah. That's right. It was accidental headbutt. That's right. Yeah.
But that thing was gnarly.
That was one of the worst. That was one of the worst forehead cuts I'd seen probably since Diego, when BJ Penn fought Diego Sanchez. That was one of them.
Kicked him to the dome.
Yeah.
It made for good theatrics. I'll say that. The fight looked a lot closer than it
really
should have.
Yeah. But Jennifer Maia went out there, did her thing, and it's kind of like we said. I feel like Jessica Ai is, if not already or has been, just since her fight with Valentina when she got just brutally knocked out,
dominated.
She's on a decline, like a significant decline. And
focusing on that OnlyFans.
Is she doing OnlyFans?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Not a subscriber.
Just to clarify.
To be fair, it's been this way, I think, for a while, right, Chris? I mean, she's 15 and 10 now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I said, she was one of those females, like those OG females that grew up when it was hard. There wasn't a lot of fighters. They were fighting the same fucking people, you know what I mean? Back in Rousey and Tate and all them, that crazy old crew, like she was still a gangster, dude. So.
It's crazy because you look at it. I mean, after she got knocked out by Valentina, she won a fight. Then she lost to Cynthia Calvillo, which, Cynthia's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Jessica lost to Jojo Calderwood. And then she just lost to Jennifer Maia.
I guess she's having good fights,
Yeah, but the thing is it's not even really good fights or good competition. I mean, it is for the weight class, it is, I guess. But if she doesn't figure something out, or I don't know if she needs a camp change or what, but I honestly think she's at this point where, due to her age, because she's 35, something like that. I mean, you got to understand that, or accept that this is a young person's game. This is not.
Yeah.
It's not. She's 34.
Yeah.
So, but she'll be 35 in, like 2 weeks.
Yep.
So, it's a young person's game. That there's very few guys that can get up there and stay up there, or very few people, guys and gals. I guess Jan Blachowicz is an exception because he's 37 or 38 and got the title. But
yeah, I think that's temporary. Is what she is what we thought she was. Like, dude, she's a very solid vet who's very tough and is gonna fight to the end.
Yeah, so she's good for she's good at being a gatekeeper. She's good for getting eyes on some of those younger fighters that need a shot.
Yeah, she could still fuck you up, but chances are she won't.
Her style of fighting is just it's like the sprawl and brawl, and she just doesn't do enough of the sprawling and brawling. So all right. Do you guys anything else on that one? I mean, I think we all kind of expected Jennifer Maia to win, which is why we picked her. So
yeah.
Kicking off the preliminary card, dude, Trevin Giles versus Dracus Duplessis was a fun fight. I'm glad that kicked off the prelims because it was fun. And Trevin Giles looked so good.
Yeah,
and then he let his you're not a good enough defensive striker to you can't do what Floyd Mayweather does and keep your hands down and do shoulder rolls and stuff like that. And he got caught, he just got caught. This is what it came down to. He had Duplessis in trouble up against the cage and then just dropped his hand and got caught. So
I mean, he basically got KO'd after rocking Duplessis.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But I mean, that was a fun fight. That was a fun,
I picked Duplessis. I picked him, but dude, watching that fight, I was like, dude, he looked scared. He was like hesitant on his, and I was like, holy shit.
He fell for every feint. He was falling for every feint that Trevin Giles was throwing.
Scared is not what I meant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I know what you mean.
And then not only
I'd be scared too.
If I don't recall, Duplessis had him, dude. He had chance for ankle locks or knee bars,
numerous in the first round.
And Giles just lollygagged his ass up, and I was losing my mind because I was like, bro, that's the difference right there between a
serious
great
contender.
fighters and great contenders and just dudes that are 16-2, because that should have been that never should have got to that round. He should have been out because that was there. That knee bar was there for probably 10 seconds, dude. It was crazy.
I mean, Ryan Hall would have ripped that shit off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If he had it that deep or anything like that, or that opportunity, that shit was out.
And that was kind of my final thoughts on this was we found out about both of them. Duplessis has zero jiu-jitsu. He shouldn't have won that fight because Giles had him rocked, and then Giles I don't know what the hell that was.
He got complacent.
That
was the problem. He got complacent. And that's where another thing where Trevin Giles, I think he's still relatively new in the UFC. I mean, I think he's got maybe 4 or 5 fights, which, that's still, I still consider that that's still your first contract essentially.
Yeah.
He just shouldn't have landed that. You know what I mean? It was it wasn't a good looking punch.
It wasn't even, it didn't even look solid.
Rogan and all, or whoever was on it, I think it was Anik, and then we're saying oh my god, what a beautiful.
It was like a looping.
It wasn't really that.
It didn't. It looked almost like a straight and a hook combined. It wasn't. So I don't know.
It wasn't clean. He didn't look clean. Giles made tons of mistakes and would have got submitted in the first round by, 85%.
Yeah.
So hey, look, man, congratulations to Duplessis. He caught him, and Giles probably learned a couple lessons there in that fight, and hopefully he comes back stronger. But again, did not change my mind about any of these fighters. If anything, I'm kind of more hesitant next time with Duplessis just because I seen the holes in his game for 2 rounds,
Yeah. Trenton, do you have any more thoughts?
No, that's pretty much it. I agree. I think Trevin looked pretty good. I think that if he can recover and then hopefully the knockout isn't too much of a setback or whatever, that I think he could learn from some of the mistakes that he did in this by watching it back. He was over aggressive in that scenario. He didn't do it smart. You know what I mean? His hands were down and shit. It wasn't a smart move by him. And I think when he looks back at that, he's going to second guess his approach next time, which is a good thing for him.
Yeah.
But also let's just hope that knockout's not too big of a setback to his career. A lot of people don't come back from knockouts that are when they go to sleep like that, the next time they get touched on the chin, it's just as easy. Or that little bit easier or whatever. Yeah.
That's the decline. Yeah.
So, not everybody's Mark Hunt or Dan Henderson, and they just got this chin, and you could be knocked out once, but that doesn't mean your chin's worse next time. It's fucking better. Like, you know what I mean? It's like another chink of armor, or like a calcium deposit just fucking settled on their jaw or something. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, most people, they deteriorate and it gets worse for them. But hopefully it's not, and he learned from his mistakes. And Duplessis, hopefully he watches back and see what he did wrong as well. I mean, hopefully he doesn't just say, "Oh, like I got the knockout and that's I was just better." Like, nah, you were losing until you got that knockout, a lot like your first fight. So you know what I mean? Like, let's get that strapped in and go back and go back to the drawing board and fucking go strong with it. You know what I mean? Like, train your ass off. And like Jeffrey said, I'd be tempted to pick him again, but let's see who he fights next.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is like, if you look at the guy, he's built like a brick shit house. Yeah, he looks like a fucking he looks like a Greek god. So, and he's got the look, and that's like something that you could really build around. It's just, you don't want to, so did Sage Northcutt, so that's one thing. You don't push him too fast, because he'll get fucking eaten alive. So next up, featherweight, Ryan Hall versus Ilya Tupuria. Ilya Tupuria wins by TKO/KO, I guess. And I kind of called it on this one. He was just, all he did was just throw up that fucking Eminari roll and try to get it. And Ilya Tupuria is, I mean, he said it best. He is like, I roll with some of the best guys, and I'm not going to put myself in a situation where he's there for that. And he did all the right things, and he capitalized on it where Ryan Hall got too complacent in the role and exposed himself. And it was almost like he put a guy inside. It was almost like Ilya Tupuria was in side control, but while standing on his feet, because Ryan Hall just exposed his head. And it was right there. And Ilya Tupuria was like, all right, fuck it. I'm just going to go wail on your head. And that's exactly what he did. He jumped on top. He took advantage, made sure he didn't put himself in a dangerous position, and capitalized. And it was a beautiful performance.
Yeah, Jeffrey and I talked about this in that night, and we were talking about how, like, this is MMA, and it's not just jiu-jitsu. You can't do that shit. Strikes are coming to your fucking head. Like, there's all kinds of shit. Like, even if like Ryan Hall was doing combat jiu-jitsu or some shit like that, he would know that just laying there on your fucking back while somebody's raining blows on you isn't a good fucking move. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you got to do some other shit. Like, well, I don't know.
I don't know. Obviously, I don't know if this is true, but I don't see why Ryan Hall would lie about this. He said that he broke his hand on the first punch that he threw that landed. He said he broke his hand and it kind of changed. But at the same time, good luck locking up a fucking knee bar when one of your hands is shattered.
Dude, that fight was really fun for me.
Yeah.
Like, as a jiu-jitsu guy, like, I really like to see that. You know what I mean? Like, look, I'm not saying Ryan Hall, and I was never saying Ryan Hall was going to be, like a championship level fighter. But that dude's a fucking test, man.
He's fun to watch.
Just because of his awkwardness. And that was so fun for me. But yeah, dude, like, me and Trent were sitting there watching that fight, and we're like, dude, every time he rolls, his head's just like this, Yeah. Like, his chin's just out. We're like, it's good. That's gonna.
Well, Ilya Tupuria read it really well. His fight IQ is high.
Look, man, and even in jiu-jitsu, no matter how good you are at something, like, you can't do it over and over and over. And we've seen the same thing. We've seen the same thing with what's his name in the last fight? Jiu-jitsu guy.
Damian Maia.
Anyway, Damian Maia. He did the same thing
against Bilal Muhammad.
He kept going for that single leg. Like, bro.
Yeah, he was like 1 for 16 or something on that too.
Yeah, like, jiu-jitsu is probably the best sport for MMA, but it can't be the only.
I think wrestling is only thing. Personally.
I think wrestling. So like wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and kickboxing or something, whatever, but like, it can't be the only thing.
No.
Yeah.
And if you're too one-dimensional,
I think Ilya looked good. I think he played that fight smart as fuck. Like,
for a 24-year-old. fought like that.
I think he's dangerous. I think he's an interesting fucking prospect, like, to be real, because nobody wanted to fight that Ryan Hall.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to fight that motherfucker. He still was struggling to get fights. This guy steps in, he's like, fuck it, I'll do it. You know what I mean? Like, let's go. He's undefeated. He put his undefeated record to the test, and he passed that shit with flying colors. He was like, you know what, dude? Like, my hands are better than this guy. Like, I'll out fucking strike him at any time, and I'm good enough to where I'm not going to get caught by this stupid shit. Like,
yeah.
And then he didn't engage. There was a couple times where I thought he was, and then he slipped out, and that's good on him, because Ryan Hall could have grabbed a couple other dudes and pulled them into his guard when he couldn't do that with Ilya. And that, I mean, I don't know. I'm highly impressed by him with that performance, and he didn't let the pressure or the fucking nerves get to him. He thought clearly and smart as shit.
Smart farts.
And
he smelled farts.
And I was just impressed, you know.
Yeah,
he's 11-0, dude. And on
the fact that he's 24, and like I said, the fact that he has that good of a fight IQ, because it's not just the camp, it's not just your coaches. You're the one in there. You have to implement it. Yeah. So the fact that he went in there and I would think that for a guy like Ryan Hall, he executed that game plan like flawlessly, and he did everything necessary to, he put a stamp on that performance. It wasn't like he won a boring ass decision. He KO'd and TKO'd a guy that nobody wanted to fight. Yep. So good on him. I hope that's the thing with the 145-pound division, dudes, is that there's so many fucking monsters in that division. It's so deep.
He's gonna get a fight. He's gonna get a fight.
Oh yeah, he's gonna get a fight.
He's gonna get a good one.
I hope so. I hope somebody in the top 15 at least,
That's what I'm saying.
But give him a guy in the 12, 13, 14 range. Next in the welterweight division, Nico Price versus Michael Pejera. I was really disappointed with this fight. It doesn't matter how many backflips Pejera does or up kicks that Nico Price tries. That fight to me was really frustrating because, in the second round, Pejera did a backflip and kicked Nico Price in the face, and nothing happened. They didn't stop the fight. Nothing.
Well, he buried that toe in his eyeball.
Yeah.
And then
Nico Price was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And you can't kick even if you can't step on somebody's head while they're ground. So that's even worse. That's a fucking backflip stomp.
And how many times did he kick him in the nuts too?
Like 3 or 4 times.
And they didn't take an 8-point away that whole fight or nothing after all the
And then
fighting.
And then Nico Price was at the end of the fight was like, "Hey, 75K." Like, that performance to me personally it didn't make me think like that was a performance of the night, fight of the night by any means.
Both guys were.
I expected Nico to perform the way he did in round 3 the whole fight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't you do that? If you could do that in round 3, what the fuck were you doing in one? Like,
yeah,
it's not like he was getting like a flummoxed. You know what I mean? Like, the dude wasn't like just stumping him.
Yeah,
like he could have done that. He wasn't working hard to me.
Yeah. It's almost like that awkward style. He couldn't get a good enough rhythm together to try and land good enough. So
I don't know. And dude, even I thought at the end, I was like, shit, Nico with that last minute and a half, like, dude, he might have pulled that out with a split.
I didn't think so. I thought Pejera did enough in the first 2 rounds.
I think he should have, because I think they should have took points away from Lima, but that's on me.
Lima.
Or Pejera, it says Michelle Pejera Lima or whatever.
Oh, gotcha. I was like, dude, Lima, what the fuck?
I agree, but
Pereira.
Yeah, again, I wasn't super excited about that fight.
Yeah, I was more excited going into the fight than I was after I watched it. I was like,
the results.
Yeah. Brenton?
Yeah, I think that was one of their most boring fights that they both had that I've seen in memory. Pereira usually is super, super flashy and crazy, and like he was this fight too.
He kept trying to do that stupid fucking off the cage punch, like Superman punch.
but it wasn't as exciting. I don't know. Maybe it's like losing its like, I don't know, charm or something.
Yeah.
Bro, if that's what you're banking on,
yeah,
this is probably the wrong sport, you know?
Yeah. I don't know if it's losing its charm or something, but like it just wasn't as entertaining this time around. And Nico Price, like if he had put that pressure on like he did in the third, I mean, obviously Pejera was tired, but
like
if he could have done that in any other round or even got blessed one of those points taken away, we could have been talking about a different winner here,
or a draw.
Yeah, or a draw. Yeah. But I don't know. That it wasn't as exciting as I was hoping it, because I thought this fight was going to be like fucking fireworks.
Yeah,
so I was like, there's no way this is a boring fight. You know what I mean? And then it wasn't boring. It just wasn't. It was just a little bit of a disappointment.
That's the reason why it was kind of a letdown, strictly because, like, when you think of Nico Price and you think of Pejera, it's like this is like they're flashy, unexpected. You never know what's going to happen. Like the standing backflip and then hitting him in the face and then nothing happening from there. Like, what the fuck? Like, come on, guys. Like, so yeah, I think we're all in agreement about that. I think it could have been a better fight, but it is what it is. Next up, Carlos Condit versus Max Griffin. This is another one that I was like kind of disappointed with, not just because obviously I picked Carlos to win. I think most of us picked Carlos to win, except Randy. Randy was like, fuck Carlos Condit. But he did really good on his picks. He did really good on his picks too. He's like, I do shitty. I was like, did you fucking hustle us? What? I was like, it's a good thing we didn't gamble. So I don't even know. Like, this was another one where it just felt like Carlos could not get a groove together. Max was just in and out, and he utilized that leg kick so well. I thought Carlos Condit was going to get kicked off his fucking feet at one point because he got leg kicked so hard repeatedly.
He just kept spinning around.
Yeah, and he just kept spinning it. Well, that was the reason why he tore his ACL in that fight with Woodley. Is because he wasn't checking those kicks, and then before he knew it was too late, and he would try spinning on it and tore his ACL.
Actually, during that fight, I told Jeffrey, I was like, I think he tore his ACL again because he got kicked and he like spun weird and like landed weird, and I was like, oh, he did it again, bro.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey's like, I don't think so. He's standing on it fine, but I was like, I don't know, dude. It looked like that shit gave out to me.
Well, that'd be a shitty way to start your new UFC contract that you just signed the day before the fight.
Dude, this fight,
it was so frustrating for me.
It just signaled to me that, like, hey, Carlos, love you, dude. But
love you.
That was the last one, right? Like, dude, me and Trent were just sitting there watching that fight, and we're like, he is so fucking slow.
He's slow. He was so slow. It was like his feet were in molasses.
He literally.
And we were like, dude, he's not telegraphing. He's just fucking slow. It was crazy, dude. We literally sat there and called out everything that he did. We're like, oh, here comes the right. Here comes, like you could fucking, if we could see it, for sure, Max Griffin could see it. So
yeah,
dude, well, he avoided everything for like 2 rounds. The last round was different, but
the last round,
that one, just seeing that fight, the way it played out,
it breaks my heart.
It wasn't anything else other than, bro, it's just physical. Like, dude couldn't.
Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah, exactly, and kudos to Condit for a fucking fantastic career, but I think that was the last time.
But the thing that sucks is that he looked so good in his last fight against Matt Brown. Like, he really looked good. And then Matt Brown does what he did against Lima and, starched Lima. And obviously, they're different fighters. Matt Brown is that guy that has that knockout power. But with that, he takes so many risks. He ends up getting knocked out a lot too. Carlos Condit, I can't name a time that he got knocked out.
I don't think he ever has.
I don't think he has.
So, and he's a guy that's a lot. It's the more movement. He's almost like a bigger version of Dominic Cruz.
Yeah,
not as much.
He didn't move as much.
Not as much movement, but he's got that same style where it's volume and it's more skill than it is brute strength and power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
the problem with Carlos Condit right now is strictly his speed, man. Like he's still got the hunger, he's still got the skill and all that shit. Like everything he was throwing looked good, just slow as fuck. You know what I mean?
Also left Jackson Wink. He left.
I don't think he could sit there and just do speed work and try to get that shit back either. I think it's too late in the game. You know what I mean?
Too.
Like,
well, because when you think of it, it's going to affect the rest of everything else. Because if you spend so much time focusing on speed training, it's going to affect the little power that he does have.
Yeah, I think he's lost like all of his like fast twitch fucking
that muscle. Yeah, that muscle, fast twitch muscle fiber is,
and that's probably just an age factor right there, you know. And this might be controversial, and I love Carlos Condit, but I think if Carlos Condit fought Matt Brown again right now,
Matt Brown would beat him.
Condit would lose.
Yeah, Matt Brown would beat him.
I think Condit is declining at a faster rate, and that was honestly Brown's first fight back, and he just got lucky after retirement, you know, that he was coming off of a fucking retirement, you know. So I think Matt Brown did improve since he's come back and fought Carlos Condit, and I don't think Carlos Condit has.
Yeah, well, it's also, you know, they've only fought one time each. That was Matt Brown starched Diego Lima, but he was also getting his ass kicked the whole first round until he threw that straight. Mm-hmm. And then Carlos Condit just couldn't get anything going until the third round. And, you know, it was a unanimous decision, but I thought that I thought it was a majority decision. I thought Max won 1 and 2, and I thought Carlos won the third, but it didn't change anything. I still thought Carlos lost because he just didn't look like he had it. And I really hope,
it breaks my heart.
I hope he doesn't fight out that whole deal. I love him. I love watching him, but it's not the same anymore. So
yeah, agree, dude. I hope that was the last time we've seen Carlos in the cage.
Yeah. All right. And then we get to the main card. Bantamweight kicked off the main card. We had Sean O'Malley versus Chris Moutinho. And let me tell you, boys, Chris Moutinho is a tough son of a bitch. He gained a fan in me. I'm sure he gained fans in you too, plus Randy as well. He was the definition of a zombie. It did not matter. He got hit with 200 plus significant strikes, a majority of those to the head,
and a majority of those were hard as fuck.
He just kept coming forward. At one point, in the second round, he flipped off Sean O'Malley's head coach and did a DX suck it chop, and it was just, he just kept coming forward. Didn't matter. Some of the big points in that fight, obviously, Sean landed that straight right, dropped him, and then there was only 5 or 6 seconds left, and he dove in for a guillotine. Got it on, by the way, but obviously ran out of time. Chris was still, wobbled, was on Queer Street with his legs were just still wobbly, going to his corner. And then he came
out of his corner, dude.
Yeah, he was still
into the next round. He was still wobbled.
And that's for me where it was kind of frustrating, because if you're gonna stop that fight, then stop it right there.
Yeah,
you don't go into the third round where he's taken 100 plus more shots to the head, and then Herb Dean is like, I'm gonna step in here when there's 36 seconds left. Let the fucking guy go out on his shield. If you let him go 2.5 or almost 3 rounds worth of that damage, then why not stop it way earlier? But obviously everybody else in the crowd was they would agree with us too, because they started booing Herb Dean because you stopped the fight. Like,
dude, all the fighters, every fighter that tweeted was like, do not
stop that fight. Yeah.
Dana White had a good point too, bro.
That was, look, I understand what Dana White said, right?
Yeah.
But fuck you, Herb Dean. You do not stop that fight, dude. That is crazy. You let that man take that ass whipping for fucking,
3 rounds,
minutes.
Essentially 14 and a half.
And
there was 28 seconds left when they stopped it.
Man. That's what
28 seconds left.
Dude, fuck off, man. Dude, Chris Moutinho, look, kudos to that motherfucker, and I hope he gets another fight.
He does. He signed a 2-fight deal, so
perfect, dude, because he deserves it. Because goddamn, that dude just got beat the fuck up for 3 rounds, man.
They also gave him a $75,000 bonus, baby.
Yeah. Dana White was like,
crazy.
you absolutely have to with the guy. And here's what I'll say, Trent, just before you get to your point with Chris. The one thing that makes me nervous about this is obviously the way that I think it's going to be is I think he was fueled on adrenaline because that's the biggest stage you can be on. And I think when it's like that and you got nothing to lose, you just say, fuck it. But what happens when next you get put on the early prelims that's not a pay-per-view at the Apex to do a prove it fight, and he comes out and it lays a fucking stinker in the octagon, and then you're 0-2 in the UFC and you just got booted out because you didn't perform. Thanks for filling in the spot. We threw you a nice $75,000 bonus. Don't forget to pay your taxes. And you know, that's 33%. Don't forget. And then we'll see you in the next time. And then you lose. I just think he's a guy that's probably going to go 0-2, which sucks. He gained a fan, but it still sucks because I think that's probably the best performance he's ever going to have. And honestly, he was doing so many good things. He was landing good leg kicks. If he would have just kept doing that, it would have been a different fight. It wouldn't have been such a slaughter, I think. But at the same time, it's just hard when Sean O'Malley, who's one of the better strikers in the UFC, gets an entire training camp. And then even though it's a quick change, he still had an entire training camp to.
Bro, he was landing like
he was at an 85% rate. Dude, are you fucking kidding me? Dude, those are video game numbers. Dude, I don't even think I could get those numbers on the easiest difficulty on the UFC game.
It was crazy, man. I mean, that was look, I know that Chris just came in short notice and we said it should be a dominant performance, right?
Which it was, yeah.
Which it was. But I mean, if you're Sean O'Malley, like, yeah, you would have liked to finish him for sure. Probably right there at the end of that round, you know, but I mean, you can't look more dominant as a striker. Fucks the piss out that kid, you know?
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts. And dude, we said he shouldn't have taken that fight, and I still think he shouldn't have taken that fight. You know, he should have waited. But I mean, that performance isn't gonna.
Yeah, he got $75,000. So
yeah, and he came out unscathed from that fight. I guess is what I mean. You know,
I mean, his hands are probably fucking broken, but
I'm sure they're sore as fuck.
Yeah. Anyways, Trent, go ahead. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, I don't really have that much of a point to make or whatever, but Dana White said that fight should have and could have been stopped at any point.
Yeah.
My argument is that, I mean, just like you guys said, you guys let him get beat for fucking far too long to stop it in 28 seconds left. You know what I mean? Like, you got to give him a moral victory there and let him play out that 28 seconds. Yeah. And if he survives that shit, dude's a savage. And I think he would have survived it, honestly, because he didn't show anything to me in that, like that it was going to get, that he was going to allow it to get
still stopped.
You know what I mean?
He was still standing.
It didn't look like he was rocked. I mean, don't get me wrong. That was just as bad as like Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson, besides the fact that he didn't look like he was fucking
Tony Ferguson looked way worse than Tony Ferguson was like.
Yeah, he didn't. That's what I mean. Like Chris didn't look disoriented at all. No. He looked like he was there. I mean, he'd been rocked in the fight numerous times, but it wasn't like at that point when they stopped it. That was not the time that they should have stopped it because he wasn't rocked there. You know what I mean?
I just hate the whole accumulation of damage thing. You know?
Yeah,
It was an accumulation.
Well, he accumulated the damage in round fucking 2. Like, stop it there, bro.
Yeah, I honestly thought if you were going to stop it, the best time would have been when he's standing there wobbly after he got up off the stool at the start of the second round.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought they weren't going to let it go. Like, I was like, oh, they're stopping it, dude. There's no fucking way. And then they let it go, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then Herb Dean's like, fuck it. I'm just going to wait until there's 36 seconds left. Fuck it.
I was like, you robbed him, man.
Yeah. So, and then after, there's call outs galore. He basically called out Dominic Cruz, said Dominic Cruz has been ducking him. Obviously, Sean O'Malley. Said Cody Garbrandt hasn't won a fight since 2012. Obviously, that's a lie because he just knocked out Pedro Munoz, or not Pedro Munoz. Some other, I can't remember. Rafael Assunção.
Yeah,
just like a year ago, and then he
crazy knockout too.
Yeah, and then he
the same night that O'Malley did. So
yeah, and then he called out Fabrant, and then and then yeah, obviously I don't think. And Dominic Cruz is like, yeah, dude, I have no interest. I'm trying to work my way up here like everybody else, so I'm not gonna fight backwards.
Well, he's still not ranked in the top 15. So why the fuck would anybody? Well, I guess Dominic Cruz does make the most sense because I think he's 13 in the world right now, 13 or 14, or maybe 11.
No,
I don't think he's top 10. I don't think Cruz is top 10 right now.
I don't remember because the 135-pound division is just as stacked as 145, which is just as stacked as 155, dude.
But it doesn't make sense for him to fight like Rob Font or fucking Garbrandt right now at this moment because those guys are still highly ranked. They're like top 5.
The only reason it makes sense is because O'Malley is a huge draw right now.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a money fight, that might be the one.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think that's a little bit more than he should bite off right now, to be honest with you. But I still think that they should work him up. I just don't think they should work him up the way they've been doing it. Give him a fucking top 15 guy. Let's give him top 10 to top 15. Don't give him top,
I say 11 to 15.
9.
I say 11 to 15.
Yeah. But that's work him way up that way, not the fucking way where he's fighting nobodies that are whatever.
It's essentially the Floyd Mayweather come up where for the longest time he had a padded stat record because he was essentially fighting nobodies up until he started fighting, and he proved it. He proved that he was just as good. Or like Julio Cesar Chavez was fighting guys that was fighting guys that were fucking 3-20.
But everybody's argument is that he's always fighting these guys past their prime too.
Yeah,
I don't agree, but whatever.
Yeah, well, and then this is what I told you guys when we recorded, the preview and the prediction. Was if he doesn't fight somebody that's in the top 15 on his next fight, I'm just gonna get off the train because there's no reason why a guy who puts up an 85% landing rate should be fighting Luis Smolka next. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
I get it. You fought a guy on short notice, but it's kind of hard to prepare for somebody on short notice, and it seemed to not bother Sean O'Malley at all. So
but
that's my 2 cents.
Before we pass on to the next one for Chris Moutinho, where we're saying what should happen next or who they should give him next. I'd be interested in somebody like Benito Lopez, like a Chris Moutinho and Benito Lopez.
Benito bantamweight,
I think so. Yeah, and he just
he's
with
just had a baby. Team. He's with Team Alpha now. Of course, he's a bantamweight.
Bro, poor Chris get his face kicked in, dude.
I mean, it's another guy with the tall, lanky body and all that shit, and he's a good, striker. He throws wild knees and kicks and shit like that. But at this point in his career, I don't think he's on Sean O'Malley's level either. You know what I mean? So I don't think is Sean O'Malley. Benito.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I think Benito I don't think beats the piss out of Chris. And dude, I don't think Chris is
I think it's a good fight because he's tough as shit.
I don't think he's a UFC level fighter though. Just because you're tough doesn't mean
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna fight. They're gonna sign him up with somebody. They I
know they are, but I'm just saying, dude.
I'll throw that out there.
I think we can all dude's 9-5 and just got the worst beating you could probably ever get in a fucking fight.
He probably just got a 10-month suspension for head damage.
Benito's been on it's been a 2-year layoff for him too.
Why?
I think he just had a kid, and then in his last fight, I think he was got a concussion before he got submitted or something like that. So he's been out for 2 years now.
A long time for a concussion.
Yeah. Well, and his baby. I think he just had a baby. So.
Well, I mean, yeah. Maybe
it's not 2 years, but it seems like 2 years.
Maybe you guys should drive up to. Maybe when you guys go up to Sacktown tomorrow, maybe you guys should hit up Team Alpha Male and fucking tell them to tell Benito to get on the goddamn pod.
I'm not trying to get well, maybe on the podcast.
I'm
not trying to make this guy fight after having kids right now. I know all about it.
I messaged him on Twitter and said, "Hey, come on, get on the pod."
Yeah.
So said two guys from Chico want you on the pod. So
maybe one of these days we'll get to him.
Yeah. Maybe one day
I have him on my Snapchat, but
maybe one day we'll be big. All right. So next up, the women's bantamweight fight. Irene Aldana versus Gianna Kuniskaya. I went with Gianna in this fight because I thought the talent level that she had fought was going to be a big factor in this fight. And she came out guns blazing. Fucking yeah. You could hear every time she's throwing a fucking punch. And they're like, even the commentators are like, wow, she's like really putting everything behind these shots. And she was doing really good. And then Irene's superior boxing kicked in and hit her with the check left and dropped her, like hit her right on the button. Yeah, but the thing is Gianna's nose has been an issue. Like the last 3 or 4 fights, her nose has gotten busted up early. And it's not like a very significant shot that does it. It's like usually like a short jab or something. Like obviously those can be pretty devastating depending on who you're fighting, but usually in the women's division, there isn't anybody really that can hit you with a short jab that will shatter your nose.
She got that Rory nose, dude.
Yeah, dude. And she just got caught with the check left, and it was such a beautiful shot. And then Irene did the best thing and got on top and just
the ground and pound.
Made her
ground and pound was nice too.
Yeah, she just hit her with good play shots. Mm-hmm. And it was a beautiful performance by Irene. Congratulations on the stellar knockout, and she's on her way up, man. She's exciting. Is
she the one that missed the weight? Or was that mine?
She missed weight by 4.5 pounds too. Yeah. Or 3.5 pounds, which is not
that's
good.
A shame because that kind of detracts from the attention that you get for that too, you know. Even Dana White was saying something like at the post-fight presser, they're like, hey, like Aldana, you know, he's like, oh, thanks for reminding me. I think I'm gonna throw her some money too. And then they were like, so like what about like the missing weight? He's like, oh, I didn't know about that shit. I just found out that
he was standing right there. He was standing right there on the fucking stage.
He does so much shit. You think he remembers when everyone misses weight?
Yeah, he does it at Fuck It Fridays where he's eating fucking cotton candy balls and ice cream sandwiches and whatever. But
tossing money to fight an extra fucking 25 G to fighters.
Yeah, so she could pay her opponent the money that she owes her for missing weight. But I'll say this is something that we don't know anything about. Irene said that she had started her period like right during her weight cut, and she said like she feels like that was the biggest thing behind why she said, I kept trying to cut weight. My body would not sweat. Like I couldn't sweat. I couldn't cut that water weight. So I don't know how it works. Obviously we're not women, so we can't speak to that. But it very well could have been a deciding factor behind why she couldn't cut that weight. She apologized. She posted it on Twitter and apologized to Gianna and was like, you know, I'm sorry to the UFC, my team, everybody. So
yeah, I can't really speak to it too much because obviously I don't understand that situation, but I'm sure she's not the only female that's happened to.
No.
So, I mean, it's still.
But we also don't know how many other women have had that issue.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I want to know. Yeah. Right? Like, is this something we just don't know about?
Well, I'm sure somebody would call that out.
Or other women calling that out, you know, it'd be like, hey,
that's what I mean.
I was on my period too.
Well,
you know?
Yeah, also, exactly.
But it's also like every body's different. You know,
it's true.
Everybody's different, but every body is different too.
Yeah.
So
I just don't want that
to become a common excuse.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's not true. You know what I mean? Like it could definitely be true, dude, and it could be a legit thing. I just don't want to every time somebody misses weight, be like, nah, fucking nose on the rag, you know? Like, dude, damn it. Even if it's true.
Sorry, I missed weight. I had my man period.
That's what I'm saying. Like, dudes be like, dude, hey man, I
was bleeding out of my butthole.
It was a midlife crisis. Like,
but to get back to the fight, what were you guys' thoughts on the fight?
I think Irene looked great. I think she looked really good. She clean hands, great ground and pound,
crisp,
and she put that shit to the end with a quickness. Like I was impressed because I think that was her best performance
by far.
Yeah, same. I don't have much else to say, dude. Look, Kuniskaya is she's legit, dude. So to put her down like that is definitely a feather in the cap, dude. She looked great, man. I hope she gets a big fight.
See, and that's the thing that's crazy about, it's those fighters that you don't expect that. Like, obviously, she's a Mexican gal, so you assume like boxing is one of the biggest sports in Mexico, but she put that shit on display and like emphatically stamped it and was like, I need to be taken seriously in this division. Obviously, she lost to Holly in her last fight, but she went 5 rounds.
Yeah. And there's no shame in losing to fucking Holly Holm, dude.
No.
Like, no. You know what I mean? Like, and the fact that she is a Mexican fighter, like rising tides raise all ships or whatever the hell it is, like Moreno, that with Moreno, like that's got to be an inspiration to her. Maybe she wants to be the first Mexican female champ, like it's, I don't know, man. There's something about that. Like, same thing with Dagestan and all that other shit. And, all these fighters come out of there. And,
when do we see?
Yeah, exactly.
Listen here. Think of this: a female Khabib.
Well, I mean,
when are we going to see it?
I must break you.
She's like, you must quit. I will break you. Well, I deserve this.
I don't know much about that part of the world, but I can't imagine that they look fondly of their women.
Well, they don't allow. They don't. I'm assuming that they don't allow. Their female to, just based on their religion. I'm pretty sure they're not allowed to. So
because I'm sure they have women that would smash.
Thing works with the Koreans. That's my hope.
Yeah. All right, dude. This absolute firefight that lasted 1 minute and 7 seconds. I tell you what, holy fucking shit, man. Tai Tuivasa, Greg Hardy, that was so much fun. Those tree trunks that Greg Hardy has, he was getting them kicked out from underneath them. Tai Tuivasa was just absolutely obliterating, whether it was an outside kick or an inside kick. He was landing good shots.
Yeah,
and then Greg Hardy clipped him.
Yep.
With a beautiful shot too, clipped him, and Tai Tuivasa got staggered. But Greg Hardy, with his low fight IQ, his inexperience, and him being the fucking Prince of War, he goes in for the kill and gets caught. And Tai Tuivasa shoved his knuckles so deep into his orbital that he couldn't even open his eye after the fight.
Bro, he did not like getting hit like that. Dude.
No.
You seen the look on his face. He was like,
yeah, he's like,
I was like, oh, he went out like a bitch, dude. Get out of here. Fuck Greg Hardy, dude. I'm fucking glad he lost.
But I'll say this, though. It just goes to prove that everybody in the heavyweight division has power. Even if you're Greg Hardy. So.
Dude, yeah. Hey, look, man. Like, that fight was fucking.
That was the most fun 1 minute I've seen in a long time.
It just made me, I know it sounds like dickish, but it made me happy to see him get just fucking hit hard.
Me too.
And
it doesn't make you sound like a dickhead at all. It makes you sound like a good American.
And he did not like it, which made it, and you could tell that as soon as he hit him, he was like, fuck that. I'm out. He's like, I'm done with that shit. That's not gonna happen again. And
when you get your eyeball punched into the back of your skull, it probably doesn't feel very good.
That was a fun fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it.
The celebration afterward was even better.
Yeah, that was the only thing I was gonna bring up is the shoeies, man. Like the motherfucker, I think, just broke a record for the amount of shoeies he did on the exit, dude. Like he did at least 4 shoeies that I saw. Like I was like, what the fuck?
The one that I burst out laughing, like you could ask Stephanie. She was sitting right next to me. I died laughing because I watched the guy take the top off of Dustin Poirier's hot sauce and poured it in there, and then Tai Tuivasa chugged it, and he's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "I put hot sauce in it," and he's like, "No."
Like, "Here you go, dude."
Yeah.
That was a real dick move.
Yeah, that was pretty fucked up because if he would have gotten that shit in his eyes,
oh god,
that would have been the most damage he sustained the whole night.
He's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. And then the guy that's doing the fucking from way up top hits him with the from way up top. Fun fight, which then was preceded by an absolute snoozer.
Hey,
and Gilbert Burns and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And that was another one that I was super excited about. And it was just so frustrating because Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's takedown defense is good. And it just did not look that good against Gilbert. I think Gilbert is just too physically strong. I think because you look at him, he's built like a fucking tank. Yeah. I mean, his head is small. His neck is twice the size of his head. And everything else, he's just big. He's short and stocky. And he's got that good jiu-jitsu or grappling body. And, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is tall and lanky and has more of a striker's body, or kickboxing specifically. But for me, it wasn't just because I got the pick wrong. Like if I would have gotten the pick wrong and it was an exciting fight, it wouldn't have been as bad. But the fact that it was literally a lay and pray, our namesake. It was take him down. Yeah. Shout out to the channel. Shout out to the pod, boys. It was just for me. I was more frustrated because there were so many times there where I was like, dude, just fucking get up. Like, get up. I understand that it's hard. I get that. I'm not. It was just me more out of frustration. It was like, just fucking stand up. That's it. That's all I want to see. Because when Stephen Wonderboy Thompson was throwing spinning shit there in the third round and caught him like over the top, I was like, finally. And then he got taken down again. And I was like, yep, fight's over.
That's why we were saying the 5-round thing. Like this goes 5 rounds. This is a different fight.
Yeah.
And I picked Wonderboy. That fight was just frustrating.
And he got punched in the back of the fucking head the last 10 seconds. He got punched in the back of the head like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, at least 4 times that I counted. Some of them hit the back of his like shoulder or in like neck area, which I think is still illegal.
Yeah.
But yeah, like at least 4 of those hit the back of the dome piece.
Yeah, for me, this was just frustrating. Like, I feel like I didn't learn anything about either of them. Like, I learned that Gilbert Burns can, take you down, but he didn't do shit to a guy like Stephen Thompson.
He didn't cause damage.
If you're going to fucking beat somebody up on the ground, that's probably the guy you want to fucking prove it against. You know what I mean? Like, and I said that I wasn't high on Burns before the fight. He did win, so congrats. I'm not shitting on him. He's good. He's really fucking good.
He implemented a game plan to get the win.
Yeah. I just still, for fucking whatever reason, I don't buy into Gilbert Burns, and that's probably on me. I'm not saying he's not good, but god damn it, dude, to be number 2, like I want to see something fucking special. And with him, I see very solid all the way around, like 360. Very solid, but there's nothing in his game that I'm like, oh fuck, like that's what I want. I just don't see that.
He did clip Wonderboy a couple times, and with shots that I was like, ooh, like got to be careful. You can't take a lot of those. But I think, I just think the biggest thing is he just had a good game plan to get the win. He played it safe to get the win, which is what a lot of guys are doing right now. Like you look at Israel Adesanya against Marvin Vettori. He is leaps and bounds above Marvin and could have solidified, himself up there in the rankings, like in terms of pound for pound. And he did enough to dominate, but not dominate in a fashion that's like, oh yeah, that was impressive. It was kind of like, oh yeah, you dominated him, but I mean, come on.
To me, I was more pissed off at Steven than I was like even Burns. Like, I don't think Burns had like just like barn burner of a night. I think Stephen Thompson
a stinker.
Like
yeah,
fucking laid an egg, you know.
And then
that's what I bought.
So this is what I'll say I gathered from the fight, and as a whole, is that was Wonder Boy's chance to put himself in the title picture, and now he's gonna have to take a step back, which he cannot afford to do because Father Time is undefeated. He's 38. It's a matter of time before he, who is he going to fight now? Like, people are saying him versus Masvidal again, but I don't see Masvidal I don't think Masvidal wants to do that fight because Masvidal would be fighting somebody ranked below him.
Masvidal also got a bigger payday somewhere else.
Well, and also then Gilbert Burns at the end of the fight calls out, he's like, it doesn't matter. Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal, Leon Edwards, they can all get it. Yeah. They can all get it. Get what? Taken down and humped for 6.5, 7 minutes of a 9-minute fight. Why Leon Edwards doesn't? I mean, that's a high risk for Leon. Like if he ever wants to get,
I think Leon Edwards beats the piss out of him.
I think Leon would get taken down and controlled on the ground. Leon's ground game, I don't think is good enough.
I don't think so.
I think this fight played out exactly like I thought it was going to. I think if it was a 5-rounder, we're talking about a different fight.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is why I chose Gilbert. I thought that his grappling was better. I thought
kudos to you, by the way.
I thought that he could stop Steven from, if you keep him out of the distance or whatever, like if you could close the distance, that he had a good chance of winning this fight. You just keep him up against the cage or grapple with him or whatever, and then that eliminates all of Wonder Boy's fucking weapons right there. You know what I mean? And it was a 3-rounder, so I was like, he's got enough cardio for 3 rounds. Like if it was 5 rounds, we might be talking about something different here. Yeah. But my big takeaway from this fight, after it was over, I looked over at Jeffrey and was like, let's be honest with ourselves here. Neither one of these motherfuckers have anything for Kamaru Usman.
No.
Like, not even a fucking chance. And it sucks because Stephen Thompson would have been like a nice, different change of, a face in the contender. But after watching that, you're like, I don't want to see him fight fucking Kamaru because it would have been worse. Like,
yeah, Kamaru would have taken him down at will. He literally could have just
done something with it.
Yeah, exactly. He would have. His ground game is just so dominant and compared. Yeah. But like, I don't know. I don't want to see like Gilbert. It's everybody can get it. Get what though? Like your performance didn't show me. You're like if you would have starched Wonder Boy and like everybody can get it. Okay, but you notice the one person. You notice the one person that he didn't call out was Kamaru.
Oh, he knows.
You noticed that?
He just got slept by him. He don't want that again.
Because he knows that he knows he's gonna fucking lose that fight.
Yeah.
But if he can get a big name, at least that's a fucking payday. And then maybe you get that fight again. You know what I mean? Like you get another big fight because they're not gonna drop you. Yeah, they're not gonna drop you from 2 to fucking 10.
Yeah.
If you fight Jorge Masvidal or Diaz or something like that, dude. Yeah.
Diaz ain't ranked in the welterweight, so yeah.
That's the best case scenario for him, dude, is to get a fucking big payday and then get another big payday by fucking fighting Usman.
Yeah.
I mean, a smart move to him. I wouldn't want to fight Usman, but at least you're gonna get a payday in between there. But here's the thing: I don't think any of those fighters want you.
No.
That's not a big payday for them neither. That's not a draw.
No.
He's gonna have to fight somebody, I think, out of the top 5 right now, and that sucks for him because he's he wants somebody up in the top whatever. But
how about him versus Colby? How about him versus Colby?
Well, Colby's gonna be fighting Usman, so
yeah, I know, but I'm saying like if he doesn't fight,
if he doesn't win, yeah.
Like,
but then now you're talking about, depending on how crazy of a fight that Usman versus Colby fight is, you're talking about another year from now,
6 months suspension. Or 3
so I
months
mean, he'll be out of the game for a long time. Yeah. So if you're wanting to fight again soon or anything like that, it's going to have to be somebody out of the top 5 because Leon Edwards is probably sitting out for the winner of Colby versus fucking Usman.
Rightfully so.
Smart, that's what he would do.
That's what, or if the UFC, like, this is where obviously it gets into the politics of
and Masvidal don't want nothing to do with Gilbert Burns because that ain't money for him. He don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like,
and also because he knows that he's not going to be able to starch Gilbert Burns, because Gilbert Burns, Gilbert Burns he got caught by Kamaru because Kamaru is just a more technical striker.
Yeah.
Jorge's got lightning quick explosiveness. That's about it, which is also what Gilbert has.
But if Gilbert takes him down, it's going to look a lot like the Wonder Boy fight,
Then we'll know that Gamebred is, just journeyman.
Gamebred's much stronger than Stephen Thompson, though.
I do too.
But
he
also didn't. Years ago when they fought, he didn't prove that he was very good against Wonder Boy. But obviously, he's a different fighter now than he was.
Yeah, he's improved leaps and bounds.
He's got that confidence, dude.
Yeah.
Big thing, right?
I just don't see who the fuck he fights in the top 5.
I don't either.
I really don't.
All right. I guess that leads us to our main event. Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor 3. It kind of was what I expected it to be, except for obviously I picked Conor. I thought it was going to be Conor coming out very fast right off the bat, which he did. First thing he does, throws a spinning wheel kick, and then throws another, then throws a spinning back kick, and then just does a lot of Conor. And then he throws up a fucking guillotine on a guy who's got a black belt. And after he shit talked about he only counts KO losses on his record. That's it. Nothing else. No submissions, no decisions. Those don't count. And then he throws up a guillotine and doesn't even come close, and ends up getting grounded and pounded into the mat for 2.5 minutes, sticks his fingers inside the gloves and is pulling Dustin into up kicks by putting his fingers inside Dustin's gloves, and then gets let up off the mat. A kick gets checked at some point in that fight, and Conor gets caught with the left by Dustin and stumbles, and then his tibia breaks, and then he falls back on the mat and is looking at Herb Dean like, oh, it's broken, my ankle is broken. And then Dustin Poirier goes in for the kill and just grounds and pounds him until the round's over, and then it's a doctor stoppage. I am going to be honest with you. There was a lot of shit that happened in this fight that made me kind of disappointed in Conor. And it was mostly the post-fight stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like I think for me, it's just upsetting because the reason why I loved Conor is because of the mysteriousness, like the mysticality to him. And then you go from a guy who's like just fun to watch. He's a good shit talker, where he's like forcing it in the lead up, like just forcing the shit talk. And then, he just gets beat by a guy who's better. Dustin's just better. He's a better fighter. Plain and simple. And that's okay. I think Dustin is going to beat Charles.
Me too. In
their fight. Dustin's going to beat Charles. And, but the way Conor handled that, like, this is the first thing I'm going to say. Fuck ESPN for making Joe go and interview Conor. That's bullshit, because that's not on Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan didn't go, hey, I'm going to go talk to this guy who just broke his ankle and, lost his fight. That was ESPN, somebody in the trailer, or somebody at UFC, whoever it was, somebody did it and it wasn't cool. And then shame on Conor for saying the shit that he said. And since then, the shit that he said about Dustin's family is kind of fucked up as far as I'm concerned. And there's no need for that in mixed martial arts. You want to do that in the WWE where it's fake as fuck? I don't care. You want to do that in real life and threaten people's family and say you're going to kill them in their sleep and all that other stuff, and then post on social media Gonzo posting a picture of Dustin's daughter? No, don't do that.
That shit's wild.
That's fucked up. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm on a Conor timeout. So probably for a long time.
Trent?
Yeah, I think the fight was entertaining while it lasted. I think it was heavily leaning towards Dustin.
That was a 10-8 round, by the way.
Yeah, it was 2 10-8 two judges scored at 10-8, one scored at 10-9. I mean, it was a good fight while it lasted. Like, there was times where Conor looked good and Dustin caught him, and then the ground and pound was fucking nasty.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's not much more to say about that. It was a freak fucking thing. I don't know if it was a check leg kick. I don't know if his leg was a little injured before, like his coach was saying. I don't know exactly.
I think.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on with that, but that shit happens, man. Like, look at Chris Weidman, Anderson Silva, fucking Chris Weidman, Uriah Hall, all this shit. Like,
Corey Hill, the original.
Yeah, legs fucking break. Like, things are, I mean, it's bad, dude. It looked gnarly. It wasn't a good thing. He's said he's got 6 weeks on crutches before he could start rehabbing, and then, come back after that. All the shit talking and stuff is okay until you bring in people's family, until you bring in, like, especially fucking kids, dude. Like,
bro, you posted
leave the kids out,
daughter on social media, bro.
That's crossing the line, bro. Like, that right there is like, now we're talking about, y'all better keep me away from this motherfucker backstage. Y'all better keep me away from this motherfucker outside of the UFC.
I better not see you on the street. If I see you in the fucking South, I will. Yeah.
Like if we go to a fucking fancy restaurant and your bitch ass happens to be there, it's liable to go down.
Guaranteed it's going down. Guaranteed it's going down in this restaurant.
Like, and if I happen to fucking get word that you're in a place and I happen to show up there too, I'm fucking sorry.
Like, that shit isn't fucking cool. Like, I'll give him that. Like, there ain't no reason to be bringing in family and shit like that, dude. Like, there's so much other shit that you could say and bring up to even, like, hype up another rematch or whatever the fuck you want. It doesn't have to involve children and his wife and all this other shit.
Here's the way I kind of, like, you guys are exactly right on the fight. Like, I don't think I need to bring up the fight. It kind of was what it was, and Dustin was gonna probably end up dominating that fight, is what it was, right?
That would have been 5 rounds if it would have gone 5 rounds. I think Dustin would have finished him in the second at some point if his leg didn't break.
Conor always was already gasping for air.
Yeah.
And then on that break, I seen a video today, like, it's from UFC or Brennan Schaub or something like that, where it shows the kick that it broke. And
Dustin points.
Like,
Dustin points.
Yeah, he points. Yep. He's like, ooh, there it was.
Yeah.
And you could see it on the skin. And then he takes a step, like, stumbles, and then throws a punch or something, and then switches stances, and that's so it was already broke. Dustin was absolutely right when he said in the post-fight conference, he's like, I felt it, or the post-fight interview, he's like, I felt it. I felt, and he was absolutely right. I seen it on video. So when Conor's like, he didn't do shit, it wasn't shit. Like,
it wasn't a check. It wasn't. It's like,
and then as far as all that other stuff, it made me think about, like, how much I really like Jon Jones as a fighter. And then how much I just fucking despise who he is as a human being. Most of the time. And I was thinking about, like, their paths, and, like, dude, Conor McGregor may have done worse shit than Jon Jones, and everybody gives him a fucking free pass, but everybody's calling Jon Jones a piece of shit. Like, let's time to call a spade. Dude, like, Conor McGregor.
I'll tell you why everybody gives him a pass. It's because everybody knew Conor was a piece of shit, and Jon Jones was playing the nice guy. And then it was revealed that he was a piece of shit.
Yeah. Well, also,
Jon tried to be the good guy.
Jon Jones does the glory be to God and all this other stuff. It's like, dude, you're doing the religion card. Come on.
And that in the interviews with DC, when it's cut and it's not on the air, and he's like, "You're my bitch," like, hey, like all this shit. Like, you there, pussy? but he was hella respectful to him on air and all this shit. You're like, get the fuck out of here, you shady bitch.
Hey, pussy, you still there?
But you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody just, like, I'm not saying everybody gives Conor a free pass because I think people have been saying this for a while.
Yeah.
But like, you look at what this fucking dude, had the bus incident. He beat the shit out of an old man in a fucking bar. He's fucking posting people's kids on like, you're telling a guy right after you fucking fought and you lost that you're gonna fucking kill his family in the middle of the night and shit like that. Bro,
yeah. No.
What are you doing? What the fuck happened? You know what I mean? Where did this fucking gross ass Conor come from when it was fun before because it was funny? It's okay to fucking play touch.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Who the fuck is that?
Was great. And we all loved it because it made the mystique and it fucking, when he backed it up, it was like, oh shit. But here's the problem. Now you're a piece of shit. You ain't want to fight in like 5 fucking years.
He beat
a
Donald.
UFC fight.
He beat Donald.
Okay. But you know what I'm saying? Like Donald. But
you know what I'm saying?
Like, he hasn't done
win.
anything of substance in the UFC for fucking ever.
Yeah.
And he's just not good. He hasn't improved any.
No.
Like zero.
He's still the same. He does the same shit. And this is what you talked about, Trenton. To your credit, again, good pick on your part.
Well, I chose Conor, but I chose
Dustin.
No, I chose Conor.
I chose Conor.
Yeah. No, you chose Dustin. Jeffrey.
Yeah.
You chose Dustin. This is where I'll give you credit where credit's due. I apologize. Fuck you, Trenton. Trying to no, I'm just kidding.
I corrected you.
I'm just kidding. I know. But it's Dustin is in the gym year round.
Yeah.
Dustin is honing his craft. He's honing his skills. He's sharpening those tools. He's doing everything that it takes to be the best because he wants to be the undisputed champion. He doesn't know what it's like to be the undisputed champion. Conor does. And Conor feels, I don't know if it's just his mindset where he feels like he can dip his toes into several different things. It's like, dude, you got to understand the spinning shit and having a 1-round gas tank and riding bicycles to practice and all that other shit is only going to get you so far. Maybe you need to slim down and not be so muscular, and maybe that'll help your gas tank. I don't know. But I don't even, this was the problem that I had about this fight was if Conor loses, which he did, what does he do? Where does he go from here?
I don't
fucking boxes Jake Paul.
Yeah, he does something else. I don't think that he's gonna have to take a fucking fight with nobody.
Nate.
Dude, this, as far as I'm concerned, like, yeah, Nate. As far as I'm concerned, like this is over. I don't think they ever fight again.
Like Dana's like, yeah, you can't end it like this. Like, come on,
bullshit,
Dana,
man.
Quit cutting this motherfucker break just because he sells. Stop. Just stop.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
my problem.
And that what pisses me off is how much Dana fucking hates John Jones, but sucks Conor McGregor's dick. And I think that's fucking.
That's because
I love Dana White, but I just fucking hate it. You know what I mean?
That's because Conor sells, but Conor also isn't asking for $30 million.
Because they're already probably paying him $30 million.
Yeah, but at the same time, when look at John Jones's, even his feud with DC, which has the best, it's his best pay-per-view numbers, aren't even top 10 in pay-per-view.
Yeah, I get that, but Dana's usually really good with this shit, and on top of it, you know what I'm saying? Like he's really good with fucking fighters and playing no bullshit. Like, yeah, he's got his favorites, of course. But if somebody is looking like shit and if somebody doesn't have good optics for the UFC, like he's like, goodbye, fucking walk away. And yet, dude, they fucking still cut Conor's nuts. And just this last fight just kind of soured me in on everything Conor, and I could give one fuck less if I see Conor again, like anywhere.
I just think
like that whole thing with the family shit was just too much, dude.
I think that's where I'm kind of, that's why I said I'm kind of like on a timeout. Is I'm not going to be fickle. It has nothing to do with his loss. It has everything to do with how he has handled the loss.
Mm-hmm.
Like, kudos to you. You're thanking your fans for all the support. You had a successful surgery. That's good. I'm glad. But you took shit way too far when it didn't need to get to that point. And Because it's like, Conor, what would you do if Dustin talked about your wife or about D, your girlfriend or fiance or whatever the fuck she is to you, and your kids, all three of them?
Dude.
What would you do?
Yeah.
And and so that's where I think Conor needs to just do a little bit more self-reflection, and maybe he'll come around. I just hope he doesn't go from being the humble Conor back to being douchebag and ruins.
I just think that if Conor realized when his kids watch that video, when
or
they're
your
adults,
or your girlfriend or fiance or wife,
and you're fucking telling these people you're gonna fucking kill his kids and shit in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Good. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
No.
Yeah, and I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but that's where I am with Conor. It's like, fuck that guy.
Yeah. All right, guys. That concludes our just recap of UFC 264. The one thing, well, I guess there's two things that I wanted to talk about. One of the things that we already brought up, Miesha Tate's looking real good for her fight with Renaud this coming week. She's looking really good. Like in terms of like physically, she looks on point. I'm super excited. I feel like she's motivated. I feel like she is in the perfect headspace. Takes a 5-year break and comes back, and I feel like she's hungry, which is awesome. It's good to see. And also, Renaud announced this is her retirement fight, so she's checked out. She's got one foot out the door, which is why I think Miesha Tate's hungry and she wants it. So I feel like, when we do our predictions for this upcoming fight here in the next few days, or whenever you guys are available before Saturday, if you guys are available, we might have to take a break. I don't know. But yeah, I'm super pumped. Super excited to see the cupcake back.
Yeah, it seems like the stars could be aligning for her, like a hungry, like fitness level, top notch. She looks great. And her opponent's half checked out.
Yeah.
I mean, stars are aligning here. If she can't win this fight or puts on a bad performance, we should, someone should probably sit down with her and be like, hey, look here, like this chick's retiring. You came in here and didn't look fucking great. Maybe we shouldn't do this. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where we are. If she goes out there and finishes her or puts on a great performance, then yeah, let's start up the train again. Let's see what happens. See how far she can go.
Yep.
And then Jeffrey, do you have any thoughts before?
I don't, man. She looks great, and I'm excited, dude. It's good to have Miesha Tate back, dude.
I agree. She's one of the staples of women's mixed martial arts. So, and then the last
my
thing.
Dog's going crazy.
No, it's all good. And then the last thing is, it's basically Nick Diaz is signed. All Robbie Lawler has to do is he's verbally agreed. He just has to sign the paperwork, but it sounds like September. I want to say September 26th is when they're scheduled to fight. It's going to be a co-main event, and it's going to be a 5-rounder. So, the Diaz brothers with these co-main event 5-rounders. So, yeah, it's going to be crazy because, Nick's been doing all these triathlons and stuff. I feel like a 5-rounder favors him, but Robbie's not the same fighter he was 18 years ago when they originally fought. So,
super excited for this fight, dude.
Yeah.
Like really excited. Probably too much,
Yeah. That means it's going to be a stinker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm excited for it, man. It should be a good fight.
So did they say what card it was going to be on? Is it UFC 266?
I don't know. It's just September sometime.
It's 266. That is supposed to be Glover Teixeira and Jan. So,
yeah. So they need somebody to sell it a little bit.
Yeah. But Jan's looked good since he got the belt. Even before he got the belt, he looked good.
But that's an exciting fight. I look forward to it. I hope it actually happens, and I hope Robbie Lawler signs that shit. And
he's already verbally agreed.
Yeah, and then I hope they hype that shit up.
But the thing is Robbie he's not a talker. He doesn't do
No.
media. He doesn't do that shit.
No, but when it does,
really
it comes
either,
off
but
scary because he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm just gonna."
I wasn't gonna take it. I was gonna. He's. What did he say about Conor? He's like, I wasn't even worried about it. And they're like, yeah, well, why is that? And he's like, cause I was gonna take his soul.
Yeah,
it's like, Jesus Christ, holy
man.
shit. And he's like, you're gonna take his soul, and he's like, yeah. It's like, fuck.
He just
Holy
like he's so matter of fact and like literal, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, dude, like this man's a scary dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know he wants that. You know he wants that fight back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For
so
sure.
Hopefully we get a like the best looking Robbie we've had in a long time. Because
hopefully, if Nick rocks him in the 5th with 30 seconds left, he doesn't just fucking point at him and watch him walk away.
That'd be nice.
All right, boys. Another good episode. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can see when we go live. Please, guys, please, it helps us so much. We want to interact with you guys. So comment on the videos, even our past videos. Comment, talk to us. I'd love at some point we could do like a Q&A about things or our thoughts on things. But we just need to establish more of an audience. I feel like that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, please comment on the videos. Please check us out on our podcast platforms, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Breaker, all that stuff that I said in the beginning of the video. Just follow us on the podcast platforms as well. All the support means a lot, so thank you guys so much. And subscribe to the channel. I don't have anything else. You guys got anything?
No, that's it, man.
All right. Take it easy, boys. Safe travels on your trip to Montana.
All right.
Yep.
All right. See you guys. Bye.